All right, it's time for The Voice, our weekly feature where we're joined in studio by the voice of boxing, Adam Smith, to look at the week's biggest boxing stories. And there are so many big stories. Adam, we were together on Saturday, ringside, sharing some sweets.
Yep. And sharing some magic memories.
Indeed. And it was a very special memory. You've obviously commentated at Wembley for some big ones. Obviously, Klitschko AJ will be the biggest, I imagine.
Best fight.
Best fight.
Yep.
But in terms of best fighter, did you see him on Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
Without question.
Yeah.
I've been covering this sport 30 years, Addy, and it's been a privilege and a pleasure to do that. And I think Floyd Mayweather, I've always said, is the greatest I've seen, period, live. I think Lomachenko's up there, Roy Jones probably at his peak, and over here Joe Calzaghe, I think, and Lennox Lewis. But I think Oleksandr Usyk, for what he's done and achieved, going from a middleweight as an amateur through winning every accolade in the unpaid ranks, Olympic gold in London, and then in 24 fights achieving 3-time undisputed, and 2 of them at heavyweight, beating AJ, Fury, Dubois twice, Chisora, Bellew, all of these guys. And I just think he is sensational. And I've been lucky enough to be in his camp in Gandia for a number of days, watching him train. And again, I don't think there's anyone that I've covered over the years who trains with more discipline and more difference and more passion, dedication. He's phenomenal. He could be a professional swimmer. He is a footballer. His rhythm, he's got a balance like a gymnast. I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter and a phenomenal man.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Loma there, because if I was to have guessed who would be this 3-time undisputed, I probably would have said Loma. Like, Loma was the one who I think came with a lot more noise because of maybe the way in which he boxed. I expected Usyk to be good, but I didn't expect him to be this good.
I think Loma won 395 of 396 amateur fights. I mean, that's extraordinary. And he was.
Did you hear that stat, Gabby?
He was fighting for a world. He was fighting for a world title in his second fight. I mean, Lomachenko was a magician, and when he boxed Luke Campbell at the O2, just to be 6 feet away and watch his feet. I mean, after a round, Luke actually boxed really well that night, but after a round, I was just watching his feet, mesmerised. Loma and Usyk from the same world, the same stable, the same country, and both, as good as each other in different ways, right? Usyk obviously has done it cruiserweight and heavyweight, and Loma the lighter weights. And the lighter weights, like the Mayweathers, like your Roy Joneses, like your De La Hoyas, Shane Mosley, who was there actually this week, they're very, very special. But I think there's something about the heavyweight division, and to have a southpaw with the speed, skill, ring IQ that Usyk does have, and on Saturday to show the power too, is extraordinary.
I was going to ask you that. Well, I've got 2 questions. The first one is, you said how many fights you've covered, and Usyk's the best you've seen. What's it like so close? Because we see it on the TV, watching it, and I'm like, whoa, he just moves when someone tries to hit him. What's it like close up? Is it something spectacular?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And look, I love every fight that I commentate on. I'm genuinely serious about that, whether they're a 4-rounder, 6-rounder, a journeyman, English title, big European title fight this weekend on the South Coast with Ryan Garner and Reece Bellotti. Every time, I have so much respect for fighters that it's their show, right? Whatever sort of level you're at. But of course, when you're at that sort of 90,000 at Wembley, and it is the elite, and it's world champion against world champion, then it's a real privilege. It's just a pleasure to be as so close. And I think you do see things, and Addy would agree, he was there right alongside me on Saturday. You just see things that maybe you don't quite get on the screen.
Yeah, you do, because there's moments where the camera will sort of focus on one fighter, especially when Dubois got knocked down. It focuses on Dubois, whereas I'm looking at Usyk and seeing what he's doing, and he's just kind of staring around and looking at Dubois. It's those little moments, and you just watch them and you think, wow, you are watching someone special.
And I was thinking before the fight, come on, I want the Brit to win. You know, we love Usyk. the way he knocked out AJ with that power, I'm thinking, yes. And someone told me, Gabby, you do know 23 fights he's had, he's never hit the canvas. I'm like, Oh, okay then. Maybe Usyk will win. That's crazy.
And I think, and I was at Box Fest earlier in the day, which was terrific at Box Park, and the atmosphere was building throughout many hours before the fight, and I think that was the sort of feeling of fans. People wanted Dubois to win, but they respected and actually pretty much adore Usyk. And the feeling I got was that the crowd was sort of split on the night, but at the end of it, you had 90,000 people going back thinking, I want to tell my grandkids about this guy. And I think Usyk could sell out that stadium pretty much against anybody, whether they're British or not.
Yeah.
Now,
all right, the conversation, Adam, and again, you are almost the perfect guest for this because you've been to the big fights in America, MSG, Vegas. The conversation is where he ranks all time. And that's always so difficult because of styles, because of just eras of boxing. But he's definitely within the Alis, the Larry Holmes, the George Foremans, the Lennox Lewises. He's in that. Where is he in that?
I've seen what you said this week about him being more than a generational great, being an all-time great, and he is an all-time great. I mean, we weren't around back in the glorious 70s with the heavyweights, and I mean, I remember growing up with Tommy Hearns, who was my hero, and Sugar Ray Leonard, and Roberto Duran, and Marvin Hagler, of course. These wonderful fights, and so it's very difficult to compare eras. But I don't think there's any heavyweight that I've seen on tape or live or anywhere that I wouldn't feel comfortable putting Oleksandr Usyk in against. He's a southpaw for starters. Not many southpaws have ever become world champions. Michael Moore did, but he's a port sider. He's a lefty. That's awkward enough. Then you've got the ring IQ, the footwork, the skill, the dedication, the power, everything. He's just the all-round package. So, yeah, would he have beaten Ali? Maybe not at his peak. Would he have
talking
beaten
about Mike Tyson yesterday, and now we were saying, would he frustrate the life out of Tyson?
Do you know a really interesting fight because he wouldn't have been scared. So I think that Tyson was very good against the fighters that lost it before the first bell. Psychologically got to them, frightened them, scared them. I remember Alex Stewart saying to me once that he thought he was like an animal in front of him when he faced him. He went down 3 times, he lost in a round. I don't think Usyk would have been in any way intimidated at all, a bit like Evander Holyfield. I think if you could stand up to the Tyson bully, then you were in better shape. So I think Usyk, if he'd survived the first couple of rounds against Tyson, would have stopped him. I just, it's really hard to compare. Lennox Lewis, our greatest heavyweight, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, against Oleksandr Usyk would just have been a fantastic fight. And I think you sort of leave it like that. As Lennox said, he was the best of his era, and Usyk's the best of this. And you can put him up there, I think. I think he's one of the top 10 all-time fighters now for what he's achieved.
All-time. That's, I love that. Write that down. Can we clip that bit, please? Because the voice of boxing has said it.
But how frustrating, you two know more than me, but he'd love to sit down with some of the fighters that he's fought against. How frustrating when you can't hit him. You can't get to him. Tony Belly's a great person to talk about because Belly talks about how he psychologically gets you. And the energy just goes and drains from you, and you're working so hard to sort of keep up with his feints, his movement, that you're just exhausted. And he was doing okay, Belly, actually. If you watch that fight back, he was doing all right after 4 or 5 rounds, but suddenly it just drains out of you. And you saw that with Dubois on Saturday night. The end of the second round, he was shaken. He came out the third round, he had a good third, but the fourth round, he started just to breathe heavier. He started to lose a little bit, and Usyk knew it, and then he was on him.
Yeah. Very quickly, Adam, on this, who next? I mean, Joseph Parker's the obvious one because he's the mandatory, but we've seen Oleksandr Usyk sort of give up the IBF belt before and do what he wants to do. He fought Tyson Fury to do that. Who does he fight next, do you think?
I sat on the London Eye with him about 2 months ago, and he told me he wanted 2 more fights, this one and one other. This was the 3-time undisputed, which is what he was after. If he wants one more, I hope it's in Ukraine. I hope that it's in a year and a half's time. Maybe the situation has calmed a little and he gets the chance of a homecoming. I said it last week about Katie Taylor. I think the only thing left for her is to fight in a huge stadium in Ireland. To sort of say goodbye to the fans because they've done everything, the two of them. Usyk could carry on and have 3, 4, 5 more fights the way he is. He just looks extraordinary, and he's only had 24. He's had less than Dubois. I'd like to see him fight Joe Parker next. If there's someone who deserves it, it's Parker. He's been waiting around. He's done everything that's asked of him. Ajit Kabayel, I guess, is the other one that's undefeated, but I think maybe they'll fight him in Germany against possibly Lawrence Okoli, and then Turkey wants to see Moses Atauma. I think Moses it's too soon. I think that we need to see how Moses deals with Dillian White. I think we need to just take our time a little bit with Moses. He's brilliantly talented. I'm sure he is the heir apparent, but it's too soon for Usyk for me. And I think that's one that we should avoid. But yeah, I think Joe Parker is the guy. But look, it could be Fury again. It could be anyone. As I said, I think Oleksandr Usyk sells out Wembley if it's Wembley again, but I'd love to see him fight in Ukraine.
Love it. All right, this Saturday, big boxing as well, double header. Both sides of the Atlantic as the British titles are on the line as Ghana takes on Reece Bellotti. Remember, that one's live from Bournemouth. And 5-weight world champion and undisputed heavyweight champion Clarissa Shields defends her titles against 2-weight world champion Lani Daniels. That one is in Detroit, live only on DAZN. Just sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at dazn.com/boxing.
All right, Adam Smith is still with us in the studio. Adam, look, you know what's trending right now. And it's funny because we were right next to each other when we saw images of Oleksandr Usyk's hands getting wrapped. And then we were told that Daniel Dubois is not in the building.
No.
And we all kind of gave each other a stare like, what?
Yep.
Not in the building. And now, obviously, reports are emerging of this party/gathering, him not being allowed into Wembley because he wanted all his entourage in with him, and so much nonsense. Let's park him not being allowed into Wembley. Just the party/gathering before a fight of this magnitude. What do you make of that?
He predicted chaos in the ring. I think it sounds like there was chaos outside the ring. Look, every fight is different, but I was really surprised when I saw Usyk's hands being wrapped, and I was told that he wasn't even in the stadium. Turned up at 8:15, 8:20 for a fight at 9:45. For me, again, just the experience of covering the sport for a long time, I haven't seen that sort of thing before. However, Don Charles has come out saying they had it last time. It worked with the AJ fight. Dave Dubois, Stan Dubois, goes by two names, doesn't he? Has a very, very special relationship with his son, and maybe he thinks he knows best. This is where the difference is with a trainer, Don Charles. Did Don want it? He said that's what we did before, and it worked with AJ. Maybe Daniel's the sort of guy that like to keep things the same way, but the picture's coming out. Yeah, look, it's not ideal. In fact, it's just not really. It's not the way that I think you should prepare for an undisputed heavyweight championship. I can't see how his mind. Surely you want to give yourself the best possible chance. That said, he went out, he gave it his best, and he lost. He lost to the better man, and it was a case of levels. He's a former world champion, and Daniel Dubois will come again at 27. But it's this relationship with his dad and Don Charles and Frank Warren, and they need to sort of sort that out, I think. I think everybody's seen it, and it's just very, very surprising. I've heard what my great friend Johnny Nelson has said about it, and you can't not agree. It's a very strange way to prepare for such a huge night. But as I said, if Don has now come out and said that's what we did last time for AJ and they won the fight, no one complained there, then maybe that's what they wanted to try again. So it's difficult to criticise, but it's very bizarre.
All right, let's hear from Don. You mentioned Don Charles. He was on with Simon Jordan and Sat Matt Face. This is what Don did say.
Let's replace the word party with gathering. It was a gathering. Okay?
Okay.
Right. The same gathering we used for the prep on fight day for the AJ fight. A lot was made of the ring walk when Daniel walked out in Wembley. 96,000 people. A lot was made of it.
The Anthony Joshua fight.
Correct, yeah. And the energy that it was fired up.
It was.
That gathering at the home, the same home, was taken to the dressing room. Some of the Daniel's friends and his father's friends were in the dressing room for the AJ dress for the fight, that energy is what gave birth to the energy that everybody witnessed in the ring walk.
I actually think Don's in a difficult position here.
Very difficult.
Yeah, because I don't for one second think Don's deciding, as an experienced trainer, for his charge to have a gathering 3-4 hours before an undisputed heavyweight title fight.
No,
it's just not happening.
I don't think so. And his dad was the one that threw in the towel as well. It's hard because Frank Warren said in the Jerome Miller fight, which was the big comeback fight, Danny was looking at his dad, and his dad went to the corner and helped and sort of helped get him through, I think. So obviously Dave Dubois has been there from the beginning with his son. He's taken him to this position, and he's had a huge part to play. But I think when you look back at it, you just want to make sure that you've done everything possible to give yourself the best chance. Yeah. And if they thought that was the way after the AJ win, which was great, but don't
you feel for Daniel a bit?
I do feel for Daniel.
Because I look at it and I look at him and I think, even though you've seen that video of the gathering,
would he have wanted it?
Yeah, I looked at him and I looked like all these people around. He just looked like, I just want to get my headphones on. I think ready for a big fight.
And Gabby, all week I was just thinking Daniel wants to fight. I think he was just getting fed up with the media. He was saying chaos all the time, savage. I think he was ready to go. And I think actually, if he just got to Wembley earlier and just got tunnel visioned in there.
Speaking to people is energy, isn't it?
It is.
I can't be able to speak to people before. Even when I was playing football. For a game, I don't want to speak to people.
I don't think it made a difference on the night. I think he did his best and he wasn't good enough. Yes. And I think you cannot take that away from Oleksandr Usyk and what he achieved. But yeah, they've got to look at it. And it's between Frank and Dave Dubois and Don Charles and Daniel, whether they felt that was right and whether they feel that they'll do anything like that again. But they're a different outfit. They really are. And he's brought up his kids, maybe 11 of them, I think. And it's as a single dad, it's a different world that they've come from, and Daniel's become a world champion. He's done brilliantly. He just lost a fight. He lost a fight to the pound for pound king, and as I said, one of the greatest fighters I think of all time. So it's just a shame. I think this has all come out now.
It is. It'll be interesting to see what Frank Warren has to say about it. We're going to speak to Frank a bit later. We're both going down the South Coast.
Can't wait.
Yeah, Ryan
really
Garner,
good fight.
Reece Belotti, really good fight.
I mean,
it goes under the radar because of what we've had in July.
It's sort of slightly after the Lord Mayor's show. However, it's a cracker. It really is. Reece Belotti's won his last 6. He's having an Indian summer.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Ryan the Piranha Garner, undefeated. They're mad for him down on the South Coast. Let's hope the sun's shining. It's a great day in Bournemouth, and it'll be a fabulous finish to July.
Yeah, Alois Jr., El Soro on that card.
Yes.
No, it really is really good. Make sure you tune in to this one on the Zone.
What channel?
Adam Smith, thank you very much.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.